All right, you guys, this is my part 2 to my New Orleans trip, and we're gonna talk about the vampires that I saw. So fast forward a bit into my trip, both of my friends got there and we decided to go out and walk Bourbon Street and just see what the nightlife was like. We ended up at this bar that had live music and it was a pretty big space. I don't remember what it was called, I wish I did. But when you walk in, there's like the bar on the side, and then this is what caught my eye at first. There was this table in the back right corner that a lot of people were sitting at, and they were sitting like on top of the table and on the actual like benches of the table. Their vibe was completely different than everyone else's in the room. It was just kind of, the only way that I can describe it, it was like a still darkness. It was just kind of off. But there were these two guys in particular that caught my attention. One was this tall black guy, right? That was sitting on one of the table, very tall. And this other guy who was like a shorter white guy, you know, but they both looked very interesting. But I turned back towards the bar so that I can grab my drink and talk to my friend that was next to me. Tell me how, as soon as I turned around with my drink, he was standing there right in front of me, like some Twilight shit. He started talking to my friend, asking where we're from, what we were doing. Now, one of my friend's boyfriends, who actually lives in New Orleans, was with us, by the way. But anyway, this vampire dude and his tall friend convinced my friends, not me, that we needed to go to this bar. I think it's one of the oldest bars that's in New Orleans, and they have this unlisted shot that you have to ask the bartender for that's not on the menu. And as we started walking, we noticed that we're getting further and further away from, you know, Touristville. And by this time, I really wish that I could explain it, but the vibes were just so weird. They were so weird. And I told my friends pretty much that it was a really creepy vibe. Like, why do we need to go all the way out somewhere else just for a shot, you know? And on top of that, their energy was just not normal. And my friend's boyfriend agreed with me. And I specifically remember like typing out a text on my phone. And as we were walking, I showed it to my friend's boyfriend. And I straight up said, I think they're vampires. And he just looked at me like with the most serious look, like, I don't know why he didn't say anything out loud. Like, I guess maybe he didn't want to seem like the crazy one. But this is where shit started to get real. So there has to be a part 3 to this because there's no way I'm going to be able to fit it. So I'm going to post it right after this one. Part 3, my New Orleans trip, vampires, let's go. We got to this bar that they wanted us to go to so bad. He ordered those special shots for everyone. Myself and my friend's boyfriend just kind of looked at each other like, I'm not drinking this shit. I don't know what's in this. So like we barely sipped it and then just kind of like chucked the rest. And after that, the shorter guy, he started holding a conversation with one of my friends, and this conversation was drawn out. Like, I'm talking about 25-30 minutes, but the conversation was only about her, like her life, what she's doing. Every time she tried to ask him something about his life, he deflected it, or it was something like 2 words, like very brief, back to you. Meanwhile, his tall friend didn't say anything to anyone the entire time. He was just sitting there off to the corner, like just there, blank-faced. And I noticed as their conversation kept going, the more drained my friend started to get. And then I was like, A lot of times when people think about vampires, they think about blood-sucking vampires, like freaking Twilight or, you know, whatever other TV show or movie. Most of the time, and I'm not saying that it doesn't exist because I know that it does, but most of the time, these are energy vampires, and they literally suck the life out of you. And that's exactly what was happening to her. But they didn't want to hear me at that time. So after she started getting tired, all yawning and stuff, he tries to make his way over to me. And I had such a dominant energy when he came over to me because I'm like, you're not about to fuck with my energy. So I looked at him in the eyes the entire time. And every time he tried to ask me something, I reflected the question. I was like, what about you? And after about like 5 minutes, he knew that he wasn't gonna get anywhere with me. You can't play with me, I'm a witch. Fast forward, my friend started saying how she was tired. If we didn't do anything, she's just gonna go back and fall asleep. So when we left, they wanted to go to this 4-story like nightclub. But as we were walking there, I started telling them what I was feeling and what I knew, that they were freaking vampires. And then we decided to lose them when we got in there. Now, when I tell you guys, this place was packed like wall to wall, every floor. I think we went all the way up to the 3rd floor. I can 100% tell you that we lost them in that crowd of people because we were inside the building before they even got inside. So they wanted to go out on the balcony because they wanted to smoke or whatever. And I was sitting there telling them like, dude, like those guys were freaking vampires. That tiredness that you're feeling because they were draining your energy. Tell me how. 2 minutes later, I turn around and guess who's there? And this time it was almost with a smirk on his face. Like, oh, that's cute. You thought you lost me, didn't you? And somehow he knew what I was talking about before he even got there. He was like, so what were you saying to your friend? And proceeded to pick me up on the balcony. Okay, this is the final part to my vampire story. So when he put me on that balcony, y'all, I was shook. Like, and I look over to the corner where my friends were, and none of them were like looking over. I was like, how are you guys not seeing this right now? So what I did was I kind of pushed my leg down so that I would have had at least most of my body like close to the floor. Like that was the smoothest threat I had ever seen. But I did get down. I was definitely trying to play it off and keep things cool. But either way, shortly after that, we ended up leaving. And it's so crazy because even after all of that, he gave me his number. Like, I kid you not. And in my head, I was like, should I have a vampire friend? My sheer curiosity and just like, wow, like this is magical as fuck. But then I kind of got over it, you know, curiosity killed the cat. I don't need to be friends with a freaking vampire, and I deleted his number. But yes, you guys, so that happened.